Hello everyone, welcome back. Tonight we're going to dive into something somewhat related, somewhat completely brand new and different. .NET templates. This is something that I've shown off a little bit before, specifically my .NET templates repo, especially as a way when people ask questions about how should I get started, what should I do, I point them there and say, hey, here's the way I like to start building my apps. I built these templates largely for myself, but occasionally other people find them useful as well, and I find that they are kind of nice to have a large kind of opinionated suite of template stuff, but they need some work, they need some love. Make some new ones. We'll talk about templates. We'll probably do some WPF in there too as well, because I think we're going to end up trying to figure out the appropriate demo application to put together. But first, something exciting, something very exciting. GitCon is coming very, very soon. So if you haven't registered for it, plop your email in there. Got some great speakers. Sean Astin's in there as well. If we scroll down, we will find me. If you are interested, the event schedule is now live. If we find the one, where are this one here. So new insights driving peak dev productivity. If you click see more, my picture. I am doing this with Jeff. He is the director of product at GitKraken. So it was really awesome. So if you are at all interested in sort of the GitKraken insight screen, how to leverage it, do useful stuff with it, what I like to do with it, check it out. It'll be a fun session. And there might even be some other small bits of me that show up in other places in GitCon as well. And with any luck, my Christmas squirrel. If that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will, because everyone loves a good Christmas squirrel. Okay, .NET templates. So let's talk a little bit about what .NET templates are. So the .NET new command, and I've got some links on here, they go through and they show all of this stuff. But with the .NET new allows you to create your own templates. You aren't just limited to what is in the box. So let's do this real quick. CD temp. What do I have in here? Make their. We're gonna do this. Okay, there. Okay, empty directory. Now, if we do something like .NET new, see, it already knows that I want to use my template. No, thank you. So we can come in here and we can do. What did it squawk at me for? I used a. Oh, don't use hyphen list. My mistake. List is a subcommand. Boom. Okay, so if you do .NET new list, you can get a list of all of your installed templates. And you can see in a lot of cases, many of these are coming from built-in components. The stream I did a while back with Coalesce, one of the opening steps is install the template for that. So that one's in there. A lot of these are going to be coming from various workloads that I've installed via Visual Studio. And then there's a handful of them in here. Oh, I don't even have my own installed. That's disappointing. We're going to fix that here in a moment. But there's like some from XUnit that you can pick up from various places. And then there's a handful of WPF ones. So when you run .NET new WPF, what you are doing is you're actually invoking this WPF application. And there's a couple of them here. Great, huzzah. The problem I have with a lot of these templates is they're very simplistic. They're there, you get a good project, you're off to the races, but they are not what I would consider a complete application. So for example, if we take mine, let's see. Let's do... I kind of want to run the local one. So before we get too carried away, let me get my this guy open. Because I left directions in my README about if people want to run locally, what it ends up looking like. So we're going to do something like this. And then we're going to do the wow. I'm mildly impressed. Okay, so this is going to execute two commands. One, it's going to build up my NuGet package that contains all my templates, and then two, it's going to force install it right over the top of whatever's there, which is important to do, especially if you aren't revving versions. So now if we come over here and do the same command over, we will note that somewhere in here we will find a K. I'm sure there's a way to sort these, and I just am too stupid to figure it out. But yeah, we can now find mine that I have in here. So I've got a one for NuGet packages, I've got a console app, and I've got a WPF app one. Great, fine. .NET new, you got to spell new correctly. That's very important. And so if we do this guy here, oops. And this is why it's good to pay attention to what repo or what folder you're in. All right, so if we go .NET new, Kaboo WPF, with all .NET templates, there's this implicit idea that if you don't explicitly specify a name for the template, it's just going to use the name of the directory, in this case test. If we were to do this and go --help, you'll see that there's some built-in options that are common across other templates, being able to specify an output directory, specify a name, because if you don't do it, the name of the output directory is used instead. Right? A couple of these wonderful things here. And then my templates have a few additional things added on. So for example, I have a no solution and a no test, because right now my templates are not file-based templates, they are not project templates, they are full solution templates, because in my opinion that is the most useful thing that they can do. So if we fire this guy up, what we should see is hopefully a pretty good WPF application. And this is the thing, is I want it to be good enough that somebody could dive in here and get started. And there's a balancing act between, I don't want to put in too much that I know people are going to have to delete to get started with their own app, but I want to have enough there that it's useful, right? And maybe with some turning things on and off. So for example, we've got a WPF project, great. This is set up, and I won't spend a ton of time diving into it. If you are curious on why, search my YouTube videos for dependency injection. It'll explain kind of this setup here. But this gets it going. If we fire it up, we should have a very simple application. And there's quite a bit packed into this. Come on, start. Okay, so we've got click, 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 click. And then you'll note at 5, the button disables. There's a clear count that lets you start going again. Great. There's an exit. So this shows off relay commands. This shows off data binding. This shows off the MVVM toolkit, material design and XAML, all the things. There's a few kind of small things that I'd like to address. One, I think having an icon in here would be a good start to make that a little bit better. Maybe a little self-promotion. I don't mind. We can do that. This also goes through and shows basic unit testing setup. So this is leveraging mock or mock-q as well as AutoMocker, which I'm a contributor for, heavily biased, but also showing the basic patterns of how would you actually go through and do these tests. Now there's a couple of things in here that I'm not a huge fan of. For example, this thing just blindly calls increment count and invokes the execute without considering can execute and various things like that. Because this guy clearly has a can execute, so we may want to improve upon that a little bit and make the template better in that regard, so we can probably build out some of the tests as well. I've had a lot of people also ask for things around like entity framework, HTTP client, a lot of those common use cases. So I'm trying to decide if I do a single template with lots of options or if I do multiple templates. I think a single template with multiple options is probably better. I think. And there's going to be a balancing act, because before my options are all in the negative, right? You're getting the solution, you're getting the test, right? If all you want is the WPF project itself, you drop the no solution, drop the test, and that mostly gets you there. I don't think no SLN is that valuable at this point. Like all it's dropping is the SLN file. There's kind of enough here where I'm like, you know what, we probably should go through and do this. This does have an editor config, and I thought I had included, and maybe I didn't. Yeah, so apparently I have not included the exclusions dictionary, but the editor config does have. We go to the very bottom of it. I have set it up with the new Visual Studio spell checker, which I absolutely love very much. So if anybody is interested, you can set this up. When it first released, the big limitation that I was not a fan of was the exclusions dictionary. Think all your proper nouns, the words that you just want to tell it shut up about. Trust me, this is an okay word. That was stored at outside of your repository at the user level, and I was like, I don't like that as much. Now that I can put it in the repository, yeah, we're off to the races. The other thing here that's worth calling out, spelling error severity. Even if you crank this up to air, this doesn't actually fail your build. This severity only controls the severity that it shows up inside of your error list or in like your output, but it won't actually fail a build. So do with that what you will. As far as I'm aware, I don't know how to make it actually fail the build. A couple other things I'm contemplating that would be nice to put in here. I would love to get XAML styler plugged in so that people could go through and leverage that. I'd also like to plug in GitHub Actions and similar so that there's a full build process and all that jazz. Like there's a lot I want to add to this. A lot. So we're gonna just start attacking some of these one at a time. I do want to call out one thing because I thought it was rather cool the other day. Because I was kind of poking at these templates and I added some stuff. And specifically what I added was testing of my template. So you'll note there's test console, test WPF. We'll just focus on the test WPF one. So this job here, it has to run on Windows because it's WPF, not a shock, but it pulls down the built NuGet package, in this case the templates NuGet package, and then it does .NET new install. So it pulls the template package out, creates a new directory, moves into the directory, calls .NET new on the directory, and .NET test. Not a brilliant thing, but at least validates that the output of the template, one, can be installed, two, we can gen a template, and it compiles and the tests run. And I went, that's pretty good. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, so we're gonna kind of attack some of these various things and see what we can do. But that makes me very, very excited. For anybody who wants to get started writing your own templates, let me just call out a couple things. So my opinion is my .NET templates repo isn't a bad place to get started if you want to see some samples. The key thing that you do, you set up a project the way you want, or you get your thing set up the way that you like. And then there's this .templates config with this templates.json. And the documentation calls it here, and it links out to like their GitHub repo with a lot more information as well. But the real important things to go through and do is set up the metadata for the name and description, but then this source name is critical, right? So this source name says, okay, this is the thing that I'm going to blind find and replace. Everything that I see that's called WPF app, I'm going to, whatever the name that's being applied to the template. So you'll recall here when we did .NET new, the name that we were using was the output directory, in this case test. What this short name says is, okay, find everywhere where WPF app is used and just replace it with test. Which you'll know that's why all of this stuff is named the way that it is, because it makes it real easy. Now, the hard part is in order to implement some of like these conditions and other similar things, you end up kind of having to break the idea of being able to just fire up your demo easily. Like normally I could come in here, I could open up this WPF app.sln and it would just work. The problem is you start doing stuff like this and that no worky. So for example, if we come in here, I don't have my, let's go here. Oh man, so awesome. So if we come into .NET templates, and we do WPF app, all right, we can pop this guy open and we'll see. I don't think it actually fully loads with those conditions in. It might. Oh, it might actually just work. Oh, okay. So we might be in pretty good shape. The pound ifs may be saving us for the moment-ish. It's not a great way of testing, but it's a great way to get started. So let's go through and fix a couple things. So one, I want the exclusions dictionary added into my solution. Great. We'll do that. Next thing I want to do is I want to set up an icon inside of here. And I think if this were a brand new app that I was doing, I think I would actually put it inside a resources dictionary. Now, one second. I think what we're going to do is actually I have the image. If we go up, because my library one has an icon, I believe. Yeah. So we're going to back this guy up. We're just going to steal it from there. So if we come in here, templates, WPF, WPF app, WPF app, resources, paste, app icon. Now, shameless self-promotion, that's the icon we're going with. You'll know it looks real similar to that one. I don't do this mirrored camera thing very well. Okay. But if we then come down here and go properties, and then we come down here and we go icon. Where are you? There you are. Oh, it's not an ICO file. That's annoying. That is mildly annoying. Let me go and look and see if I have a version of this that is an ICO file. Stand by, because that would be convenient. The other option is we'll just jump over and do fancy converter. I wonder if this is what hung me up before. Let's see. Gotta go look through my resources. And everything I have is not an ICO file, but I have my logo and various things. So the logo I can't take much credit for. My wife more or less did the design, and my mother-in-law has done graphics design and helped get stuff put together, and then I just used it. So I guess in some way I quote-unquote approved it. Let's see. Convert PNG to ICO. I don't want to think too hard. Let's see here. What do we got? Choose files. One second here, and let me. Can I just do resources? Do you accept drag drop? If I just do boom. Yeah, make it so. Now, in an ideal situation, this works and scales differently. Download. Let's take a look at what we got. Okay. So we're going to come over here. We're going to go 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 here. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. I want to look at the ICO. So it just did a 128 by 128. Not a huge fan of how it did the outlining. I think what we're gonna I normally don't bother to change these things much, but we're gonna do, how do I want to edit you? I see the picker. Where's the editor? It's gonna make me open an external editor. Yuck. Okay, just decided that was too much effort. We're not gonna waste our time doing it. I also have something else that can gen the image for me as well, but I will do that a little later. For now, this will be good enough to get me in for what we want. Okay, so that's gonna get us the app icon there. Let's fire the app up and make sure it actually launches with an icon and looks the way that we want. I wouldn't say the way we want, but it's significantly better. Significantly better than the empty one. Okay, so that gets us there. That gets the exclusions dictionary in place. Okay, I like that a little better. We're going to add this. Let's see, create branch, WPF, icon. We're going to just kind of ignore the fact that we did the exclusion stuff. Let's see, app icon. And then the question is, do we include the PNG or not? I think we're going to ignore it for the moment because it's not required. And we want to discard that, and discard that, because we only... Actually, I guess the easier way to have done this is it would have been to just stage the one line that I cared about. But, you know, that would have been simple and straightforward. Let's see. Adding app icon. There we go. Boom. And then we'll let that thing go in PR in. And then we will keep on our merry way. And then I think enable auto merge squash. So wonderful. And you'll note it's going to do all of the testing for me. Mwah. Okay, so we're going to close that out and we'll let that sit. Let that sit. Okay, so let's see where we want to go next. Okay, so that gets me to there, that gets me to there, that gets me to there. We might just delete this for the moment because I don't think it's actually buying us anything. Now, I think what might be worth doing is showing how to do the can increment count, because this is currently not being tested. So for example, if we go live unit testing, which one, live unit testing is amazing. It is not included in all SKUs of Visual Studio. I can't remember whether you need Pro or Enterprise for it, but if you're just on Community, I'm sorry, you don't get this feature. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and do that. I don't think that changes anything in here. Just want to make sure. Yeah, there's no diff there. Okay, so launch, it goes and does it. So one of the biggest issues I have with live unit testing is when it fails, you don't always know where to look. If you go to your output window, this little drop down here, live unit testing is one of the options in here. Very, very helpful to understand what's going on. Oftentimes there's some sort of compilation issue. But I will constantly see people run into issues where it's like, why is live unit testing not running? Well, check the output window. It's probably failing to compile for some reason. Another fun one is if your tests have like a Stack Overflow in it. That gets interesting. So don't do that. That's bad. Okay, so the issue with these tests. So we can see live unit testing is really convenient in that it gives us these little green checks. But it also gives us these little blue lines. Now, a key thing, and I say this to a lot of people, my strong opinion is that code coverage is a negative metric, meaning it is only useful to tell you what lines have not been tested. So I can say for certain line 29 is not tested. Even though there's little green check marks here, I cannot tell you if this method is unit tested or not, or if it's even tested well. All I can tell you is that it was executed while running the tests. That's not a real big assumption, right? That just means it executed and it didn't throw an unhandled exception. That's a pretty low bar, right? Like the only way the bar gets lower is, did it compile, right? And everybody, most developers, they get at least above the compiling bar. Do they actually get it to the, tested and whatnot? So this can increment count is not doing well, and I would argue we should actually do better on this command here. So what we are going to do is we are going to come in here, and I want to show off, because these are just showing facts, they aren't showing theories. Now in XUnit, the difference between a fact and a theory is a fact is a method that takes no parameters, and a theory actually takes in parameters. So we're going to do with count. So let's do int count, right? So we're going to do can execute let's see, indicates if count is less than 5. Okay. Now you'll note we're also already getting an error here saying count is not used. And XUnit has a lot of analyzers built in, and it's properly calling out that going, hang on, you've got a theory method here. Theory methods take parameters. You've passed no parameters. Right? So it calls out the 3 ways to go through and do this are inline data, member data, and class data. Inline data is by far the easiest because you can literally just, do that and we're done, right? The problem with inline data is it uses an attribute, and attributes require their parameters to be compile time constants. So this works great if the values you want to pass are constant. Imagine if this were like a GUID and you want to do GUID new GUID, or they were a datetime object and you want to do datetime.now or whatever. Right, so real quick, just to show off the other one. So public I enumerable of object array, I don't know, get values. Right, so you can do this. If you do something like member data, what you end up doing is you do name of and then get values. Right, and so this guy here, must refer to a static member. Forgot it needed to be static. And then you have to have the correct number of closing parens because the compiler is a little picky about that. But now if you want to do generated stuff, you'll note this is an IEnumerable of object array. So we would do something like yield return new, and you oftentimes have to do object array because if you do an implicitly typed array, it guesses wrong. But for example, this would be one run, and for each run in here, that's how many times your test is going to get executed. In this case, 4. It's a little obnoxious because you'll note like the live unit testing doesn't detect that this is being executed. You can get into some fun situations for like code coverage metrics if you do it over your test project where it doesn't quite match, yada, 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 whatever. But just know that this is the other way of doing it. The class data is another option rather than a member, which is either a method or a property. You actually create a class that derives from here, and then that's what gets used instead. So I find that member data and inline data are by far the most common ones that I use. I rarely use the class data because it's kind of rare that I want to share some source data across multiple test classes. Sometimes, but it doesn't happen that much. Okay, so we're going to do something like this. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And then because we're going to do some bounds checking. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. We're going to go view model.count gets count. And now here's where people get real confused really fast, because you'll note we fed in a whole bunch of values, and what we actually want to assert on, right? So we want to actually test the can execute, bool can execute. Down here we want the assert methods are always expected followed by actual. So in this case, the actual value is what we got from the act portion of our test. And the problem is people get down here and they usually end up doing something like this. Let's see, if count greater than or equal to 5, then what we're going to do is, assert equal to true. Otherwise, else we'll do assert equal false or assert false or whatever, right? I'm assuming that's all it's yelling at. Yeah, it wants me to use assert false, whatever. I'm intentionally using assert equals for the moment to make a point. And we look at this and we realize that it's less than 5. So if count is greater than or equal to 5, it's because I did my logic backwards that it doesn't work. All right, boom, boom, boom. And you have to actually have valid code. There we go. Okay, so all of the tests pass. If we look at our testing window, you'll see that I can expand this out, and it shows me the test executions for each of the values. And you could look at each one of them if there was a particular one that was failing. But this sort of thing is bad. So in general, you want to avoid loops and conditions inside of your unit tests. if at all possible. Well, there's one common exception, and I'll get to it in a moment. But the rationale here is tests should be as absolutely deterministic as possible. You do not want tests that are doing something different. Conditions always offer you an opportunity to mess up. Loops are basically just fancy conditions. They offer you an opportunity to mess up because by definition, unless it's an infinite loop, every loop construct has an exit condition or a termination condition. So the better way to write this is bool expected, right? So now what we do is we go, okay, well, let's come up here and we're going to go with expected. And then rather than just the values, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. If it's less, we expect can't execute to be true. But once we hit 5 and above, we expect false. So now what we have is we have a single assert statement. We've gotten rid of our condition, and now it's just a matter of making sure that our source data is correct. This is a very common pattern to be able to go through and do this, to mix it up. If you do put a condition in your code, because for whatever reason it makes more sense, always make sure you're handling the opposite, the else side of the condition. Right? Because, for example, if you write a common one that I see happen is like for let's see, for each var item in, you know, array.empty, I don't know, whatever, right? Assert equal, you know, 42 item, right? Now, array.empty kind of gives away the ending of this, but this kind of pattern I see occur in tests all the time. And the problem is there's nothing guaranteeing whatever collection you're iterating over actually has the items. So you might actually have ended up by accident getting yourself into a situation where your iteration isn't doing anything. The times where I will allow this through, or where I won't heckle my team quite as much, is if you do like an assert equal, you know, 42 and then collection.count, right? So if it's something like this, this is where I kind of allow it, because you've now done something in your test very explicitly, because a condition or an if poses some risk that you've accidentally introduced a bug in your test, because our tests are supposed to catch the bugs in our code. The best way to avoid bugs is to have no loops, no conditions, right? Bugs typically come around loops and conditions. So if you get rid of those, you're less likely to have bugs. You do not want bugs in your tests, because your code rises to whatever quality level your tests are at. So if your tests are crap, your code rises to the level of crap. It's not a great way of doing this. But if you do need to go through and do a loop because, you know, maybe there legitimately is, you know, 120 items, and dear heavens, you're not going to write that many asserts, that's fine, right? Guard yourself against the empty case or the early exit case. Asserts on things like the collections.count, or if you have to put in an if condition, make sure that you're explicitly putting in an else. That way, in the event that something goes wrong, you're actually catching it. The other thing is with like code coverage metrics, oftentimes if you're putting in that else condition, if you're measuring code coverage for your test project, you'll often take a hit because it'll go, this line isn't executed. And the instinct is to say, well, this wasn't executed as part of the test. It's in a unit test project. I should delete it. The problem is that's a little bit of, survivor bias? Because the only code that we merge in is code that passes all the tests. Hey, JavaScript. And if the only code that gets merged into your main branch is the stuff that passed the test, your else conditions never hit. But you really want that else condition to guard you against when you do introduce a bug. So just be aware of that. Okay, anyway, we now have a test. It adds in can't execute handling. I think this does a better job of showing people better testing of this. It doesn't really show commands with parameters, but I think that's okay. Great, reset local here. We're gonna go here, and then we're just gonna Let's do, we don't need this anymore. Delete. And then, yeah, I don't need you anymore either. Delete. Okay, so let's create a new one. Create branch, WPF, more tests. Okay, and then let's pop this guy here, and we're gonna say adding test to WPF for it's a good way of doing this, for can execute. Okay, now I think what would be nice is actually implementing publishing. Let's do that. That seems good, right? Am I going to run down a rabbit hole if I do that? Probably, but that's probably okay. Right? So enable auto merge. Does this not have a... Thought there was a way to... maybe I'm getting DevOps confused. I thought there was a way to tell it on auto merge to nuke the source branch. Is that in the settings? After pull requests are merged, yeah, I'd like you to automatically delete branches. This is something else that I started doing as well. So in the root of the repository, I started a little PowerShell script using the GitHub CLI for setting up some basic stuff that I tend to do in a lot of repos. So for example, setting up the commit strategy that I personally like. Again, everything in this repo is Kevin's preference, but it's set up in a template style with the idea that hopefully your preferences are closest to mine, and you can take whatever you don't like or throw away whatever you don't like. You shouldn't take what you don't like. That's a bad idea. Apparently I can't think straight. Mountain Dew. Okay, so let's do some publishing. I think that's what we want to do next. Is that the best thing to do, or do we want to do code? Well, let's get the GitHub side of things actually in and working, and then we will circle back. One moment. Okay, so do I have a good sample of this already that I can steal from? I think I do, actually. I think I do. Let's go here. Let's go here. And I think if I look at simply budget, it probably has a reasonable starting workflow that I can poach. That's not bad. It's my release pipeline. I'm trying to remember how I publish. This is leveraging Skuraday though. Let me look at because I wasn't going to publish it in with Skuraday just yet. I need something better. If it's not simply budget, how about like Color Kraken? What did I publish with there? Is that also a Skuraday publish? So for people who are unfamiliar with the Skuraday thing, that is my own deployment library. And I want to leverage it, but there's a particular, yeah, this is also doing Skuraday. Boy, I did a lot of stuff with that. Okay, well, let's get Dependabot in, I guess. Let's at least start there. Let's get that much in and going because that is amazing and wonderful. Why did you fail? Nope, I'm not distracted. I'm not distracted. I'm not distracted. Okay, so we're going to start with that at least. So give me the raw file. Okay, so Dependabot, for those people who haven't seen it, this is basically automatic PR updating for pulling in your NuGet packages when they update for you. It also will update your GitHub Actions. The important thing is it needs to go in a .github folder. So what we would like to do, and what I like to do here is I usually like to do a .github here, and then get everything added inside of that. So where is my, let's go in here. So new folder, .github, and we come in here and we go paste, Paste doesn't work when you didn't download the file, so we're just going to go save. And I will go put it in that directory because I remember how to do that. I think, yeah, and the browser is going to be dumb and make it be a .txt because reasons. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go here. Existing item. We want this. We want this. Okay, so this is the way we want this guy set up. Let's test this really quick. So specifically, I want to test leveraging this version of the template. Okay, so I saw an error. The process cannot access because it's being used by another process, whatever. Okay, that should be fine. That built. Okay, so we are inside of this test thing. We are going to rm star all the things, yes to all. Great, we should be empty. Okay. Now we .NET new the app and we look at what it generated. We'll overwrite what? Thought I just rm starred all the things. No, I tabbed. Okay. .NET new. Interesting. So I've got something extra in my template that I did not intend to have. Okay, so let's jump back over to here. We probably want to shut down Visual Studio. We have probably picked up more than what we want, so we want to do rm bin rm obj. Okay, so that clears out a little bit. Oh, but that's not, I'm in the wrong directory. Hang on, I kind of want to duplicate this real quick. No, man, my muscle memory when I see the auto or the Copilot bits in there do not. Okay, and then I want to come in here. I want to cd WPF, and this is where I suspect we have the problem. Okay, so where's the .viz that it's picking up? Don't see it. Okay, so that goes there, that goes there. WPF app test. Maybe this is what a good argument for why you shouldn't build these things in okay, so that cleans all of that up. So now if I come back here and execute this guy. Okay, and now we're gonna clear that out. Try that. .vs.test. Why do you have overwrite .vs? I'm curious where it thinks it's going to get these. Like, why does it think there's something in there? ls do we not I'm confused why. Oh, there's a because the thing is open. Oh, because I'm an idiot. You got to close your Visual Studio. Okay. Okay, so that was a long circle for don't be an idiot. Okay. Okay, so the important thing here is I want to see the .github, and inside of the .github, we want to see the dependabot get built up. So inside of here, after newing it up, We are still picking up a .viz directory, which bothers me. Project evaluation, test. Yeah, we don't want, I don't want a .viz directory showing up in my thing. So let's back up. Why is that showing up on a fresh build? Literal path. I don't remember what the real LS is. That has everything in it. It did pick up a live unit testing config. I'm not sure I want that included either. We're going to have to stop launching this inside of Visual Studio because it's just hosing me. Please tell me I didn't accidentally check in the good. Okay, so let's start with this. We're going to discard this line, discard this line, discard this line, discard this line, discard this line. Okay. Because we want these things to be picked up. We want that to be picked up. Okay, so we're going to do that to start with. We're going to whack that to get that out of there. And then we're going to whack the live unit testing config out of there. Does that... Okay, so those wouldn't have shown up in the published directory because those are an artifact of me building locally. That's okay. That is okay. So let's rebuild the package. The dash force on the install is just to say, hey, I don't care what the version is. Let's see. Okay, let's do a .NET new. Okay, and then we should have a much better setup. So we've got the Dependabot set up. That's much better. Okay. Okay, I am happier with that. Let's go back here. And I want to look at, I think Simply Budget might be a better one to check out. I'm looking to see where I've done a reasonable amount of stuff. See, I don't think this is actually what we want, but we're going to get part of the way here. And actually, I want to poach a little bit because this is why I want to change up my templates because not all of this is great. So this pointer star thing is a wonderful little app. So pointerstar.com. Not point star. Don't know where that's going to take me. Let's try that again. Huh. Note to self. Fix that. Anyway, it's a little pointing poker type site where people can dive in and we leverage it on our stuff. Anyway, the important thing here that I wanted to highlight is on some of these pull requests. Let's pick on one that's actually legit. All right, so I added in some spell check stuff. Is I have this set up where it runs code coverage and will do a sticky comment here that it'll update showing you what your code coverage is. Which is a rather clever thing to have. The problem is doing this well is not exactly trivial. And the reason is you want your workflows to have permissions to be able to post those comments. Right? You want your action to have those permissions. But if you're doing something, say open source, and you're potentially worried about exposing secrets, that gets to be a little interesting because your GitHub token by default only has read permissions, not write. And if you want to be able to post comments back, you need to have it have write permissions. So for example, inside of here, this little GitHub token down here, right? This is what's actually letting it go through and run properly. And I think this is what we want to set up. Yeah. I think we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna add this into our workflows folder. Grab that, save, and then right, one moment. I just gotta find my way back in. Okay, so we'll go here. We're gonna create a new folder here called workflows. This is a GitHub Actions thing. That is name is important. Workflows, great. We're gonna do that, and then I kind of am tempted to just use this guy here for a lot of this. Yeah, we're gonna download this as a starting template to work with. It's not gonna be right. I never know what to name my main template. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna go with that for now. I can't think of a better name. Okay, so let's open this guy up in maybe a VS Code type solution, I think. Show more options, code. Okay, so we're gonna go in here for the moment. We've got a workflow thing. Probably need to go and add it to the solution, but we can do that in a moment. Okay, so we're gonna do on push, on pull request, and manual dispatch. We're gonna change this to build WPF app. So subtle trick there, right? I called this build WPF app. This is now going to change to whatever the name of our app is. I think that's kind of clever. This versioning, is this the way we want to do versioning? I don't think it is. I mean, oh man, I go back and forth on whether I like this style of versioning or not. Do we version the app? So the two ways that I like is managing the version number internally inside of here and managing the version number inside of here. We're going to do it entirely in here for now. There's some MS build properties like build suffix and that kind of thing, and we could go back and forth, and that's often how people will tack on like -ci or similar. It's like, I don't know. We'll go with this here. The important part here is it does run .NET build and it runs .NET test. This generates a code coverage report. And the way you actually get this working is this -- collect, this cross-platform coverage. And then we just give it a well-known output directory so that we can point this guy at it. And it's going to generate it in both an HTML version as well as a markdown version. We have to write the pull request number out to something that we can use as an artifact. We're going to upload the code coverage, and then we're going to .NET publish the app. And I'm thinking what we might want to do is this in both cases, rather than doing a relative directory here. Either that or we should do a relative directory in both cases. Or we could do... Yeah. Oh. You know what? We're going to do that for the... Well, no, we should fully qualify it. I'm just wondering if maybe I should do something up here for it versus down here. And I'm wondering if this should actually be this, and if this should actually be this. Let's go with that for the moment. I'm gonna do that. This is going to need to be a Windows latest. You can technically compile on there, but typically when you go to run your tests, even though you can build outside of Windows. The moment you try to execute anything, you're inside of a WPF application. That's not going to work. We'll do a .NET publish if it's not a pull request, and then we'll upload the publish if it's not there. And I think that's probably as far as we'll go here. I don't think we actually want to do a deployment of any kind. We'll see. We might get fancy. We might get fancy. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna come over here. Code coverage, PR comment, workflows. We need it to be. This needs to be this, so that it knows to run after that workflow. And then it will download that pull request number, GitHub token, ingest it, and then go ahead and post it. Okay, so I think all this works. Now, step one. Let's go here. Build, pack, do all the needful. And then here we're not even gonna pretend to be fancy. We're just gonna say override everything. Okay, so we should have a GitHub directory. We should have all the things. We're going to need to make sure those things get added to the solution, but we'll deal with that in a moment. What I'm most interested in right now is leveraging this guy to push out a repo. What's the create one? Let's do GitHub me WPF template testing. Let's see, we're gonna go browse, and I want to go down to my temp directory, and I want to do test, and I want to do select folder. No, I actually want to go up a directory. Apparently I want to go here, and I want to call this test main. Oh, do we not have a git ignore file or a license file? That's interesting. Should we have an ignore and a license file? Don't know. Create repository. Temp test is not. Yeah, I know. That was kind of the point. Moment. Go here. What is the... I want to initialize a repo. That's what I want to do. Not clone. That's what I did wrong. Template test, public, clone after init. I don't... Because I do want to clone it. Browse... I do want temp. Oh, that's already set properly. Okay, and then I want to go test. So this guy exists. Exists and is not an empty directory. I know it's not an empty directory. That's the point. Okay, why is this being so hard? I'd like to take some existing code and just publish this out. Okay. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna just not futz with this. I'm gonna blow this away. Okay, Kraken, we need to talk about your getting started guide. Okay. Test, clone, open. Yeah. Initialize. There. Okay. That's all I wanted. And now what we'll do is we will do our brand new thing. New app, because this, darn it, is how hard I want it to be. You know, except for the part where, you know, I struggled to get it working. Oh, it made it named master. Suck. Okay. Because our things are set up for main. Push. And then I think I can do... Oh, I would like to set upstream, main, submit, push. And then we come over here and we go delete, delete. Oh, because it probably set it up with the wrong default branch, didn't it? Yep. Yeah. New branch name already exists, so your branch is delete. Okay, jump back. Okay, did that update appropriately? Look at that, we're already finding issues in the template. And dependent bots triggering. Okay, main exists. Can I let's see, delete origin master, go away. Okay, that makes it better. Okay, so, well, for starters, we know our dependent bot's working just fine. So that's a plus in the right direction. Okay, do we have any actions? Okay, this one doesn't count. Well, whatever. We'll look at its failure in just a moment. This guy fired off, and we appear to have GitHub Actions already ready to go. Okay, so we need to do a little work for some setting up of repository. I think that seems like a thing we want to do. I'm very tempted to just GitHub CLI this to victory. But we'll see where this goes. So you'll know this is now building 1.0.2, and this versioning of the app is one of those areas that there's plenty of debate about which way people want to go. What I would love to see though is this guy run. So this guy said this was on workflow run PR comment. So that triggered. A little curious why that one triggered already. I would have kind of expected it to trigger later, but we'll wait and see where this gets us to. Okay, well that's running. Because you're thinking about how to do this. Because ideally, when we do .NET new, we would like the GitHub action already set up and ready to go. Let's fix the solution file next, I think. Yeah, let's fix the solution file. We're gonna just pop this guy open. And we're gonna come in here. We're gonna do add folder workflows, and then we're going to come in here and we're going to go add existing item, GitHub workflows, add, save, close, and then we're going to whack the .vs directory so I don't have to deal with it. And then I'm going to come over to my diff on the template, and I want to discard, because I'd like to keep those pound ifs in, but have all of this generated out for me, and that makes this mucho better. Okay, so we're gonna stage that, stage, and we're gonna see what horribleness we've done. Okay, so back over to here. .NET test has failed. Let's see here. So we ran a thing here. Oh, this is a bad results directory. Let's see. So let's go, because we kind of want to do repo root. So GitHub actions, documentation, context, I think is the thingamabobber we want. So just for people's reference, this guy here, the env variable, I don't think that's what we want. I think we actually, so we could go with the env context, but I believe what we actually want to do is something like this, and there is something like repo root or similar in here. Let's see, event name. That's not it. GitHub ref name, repository. I want the root directory is what I want. Triggering action. Default working directory of the runner for the steps. So we probably want to use this instead. That's what I am. See, I knew it was in there somewhere. So, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to change this up just a little bit. So I think what I would like to do is do something like /b build. I think this is actually what I want to leverage. So let's see, we're going to do this. And I realize I'm using // on Windows. I don't care. Yes, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Going to do that. That looks good there. That looks good there. That looks good there. Okay, so we're just going to slap it into a .build directory, which is probably just fine. There's secretly an idea that I have for other things that I'd like to put in here for rerouting your bin and obj directory, but we're going to try this first. Okay, so we're going to do this. And then we're going to come back over here, rebuild the template. And here, we're just going to reapply it. And that means that in our test repo, we should see a change. Let's see. So we've got all of that. Great. What is the directory build props? It's a new secret ID. Sure, fine, whatever. Solution file update. Sure, fine, whatever. Okay. Updates to build. And I think what I'd like to do is I would like to create a branch and go test PR. And then we're going to do this because I want to test the PR flow into here. So we're going to do this, push test. And then this should trigger a build out on our remote repository. So we go pull requests are open. Great. This guy's going to queue up and fire. Wonderful. And then hopefully, if this works as expected, what I want to see happen is the code coverage report get generated and posted on the PR. So we're just going to verify both of those work really quick. And by really quick, we'll give this, I realize pipelines are very exciting. Visual Studio, we don't want you. Okay, well, that is running. Let's see, what else? I am trying to decide if we want to do something interesting where we publish the app out to like GitHub releases, but I'm thinking we might just stop here. This has the app uploaded as a build artifact, and then people can start to work out from there, because there's not a universal deployment mechanism. We might do something with Skirday, we might do something with Squirrel, we might build an installer. There's kind of different things we could do here, but I think we're gonna let that one go for now. Does this have the auto approve for Dependabot? This doesn't. Okay, so let's get that added. So what am I referring to? There is a, do I not have it on? Oh, I don't have it on Pointer. Well, that's dumb. And that is dumb. What was the last one that I did this on? I just did it on another build recently. Oh, I did it on my .NET templates one. Duh. Down here, auto merge. We would like auto merge enabled. So what this is actually going to do is automatically merge Dependabot PRs. Now, this one does require that you've set up auto merge on your repository, which is exactly what the setup repo script does. So this one, I think what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to paste this in. Let's see, I want to collapse build for the moment. Auto merge, what is your unknown word? We'll fix the spelling. But I am tempted to, in the template, leave it commented out. And specifically call out the requirements to be able to leverage it. Or maybe I leave it, or maybe we document it and then enable it. So for GitHub Actions, you can always just copy the name and it'll jump you right to the repo. The you do need to add this in though, because in order for the auto merge to work, this so let's do this for GitHub auto merge to work, it must be enabled on the repo. So we'll do something like implementation here. This can be done with the, and I'm going to grab the path to my script in the root of the repo. Set up repo. Yeah. So you have to actually turn this sucker on in order to make it work, but we will do so. That way, it's here. I like to leave lots of documentation in these templates. This will automatically merge and about PRs that pass the build. This will automatically, actually we should do this, automatically mark PRs from Dependabot with auto merge. This allows them to automatically complete if they pass the rest of the CI. Okay, so we'll do something like that. That gets it in, that gets that set up. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Did this thing fail again? So excited, so excited. Pipelines, so much fun. Okay, so what is your problem here? .NET tool, report file, build coverage, no matching files. So when this thing executed, it did not generate any matching files, which means here, this did not generate any matching files. So the important thing to test now is we grab this, come to the root of our repo, and we just run it locally. We don't need the fully qualified. We can do something like this. Oh, I did configuration the release with dash dash no build. There is no configuration release, so we're going to do that. What? .NET test. Project up to date. Why is it not running any tests? Test.sln. Okay. Verbosity. So that ran the build, but didn't execute any tests. Let's turn the verbosity down so I can find what I need. Let's see. Done building project. It's like it's not finding any tests to run. Well, that doesn't seem right. Let's fire this up and take a look. Oh, is this because of the NuGet package problem? I saw it like Dependabot triggered an update. I wonder if that's show me the updated package, XUnit update. If packages are out of sync, this can happen quite a bit. So let's go here. Save. What's the diff on this thing now? There is configuration being added for another row here. Where is these ones being referenced? Something is up here. Oh, the test project didn't have a configuration set up in the solution. Oh. Is that part of the problem? That could be part of the problem. Test Explorer. Let's take a look at what this one shows. Can I run all tests here? So I expect to see all the tests pass. Okay. Let's see here. .NET test. Let's just take a quick gander because I think there is a select filter settings. All of that's fine. Okay, so let's do aha. Okay, so revving XUnit and actually setting this up then fixes that. So what we would like to do is come back to our template, and we would like to grab our solution file here. So this says if no tests. Ah, we lost a bang somewhere here. So that's the reason for that missing bit. So that's just a straight up bug in the template. And then we will rev the packages to 253 in our packages props to 253 because we have a disjoint between our XUnit and our Visual Studio Runner. And then that should rebuild our template. And then let's do this guy. Reapply the template. So let's see what it picked up. So it picked up the auto merge. Great. New secret in the props, whatever. NuGet package rev we expect. Solution file change we expect. Excellent. Is template with tests. So now that should fix our PR. we should see the dependabot PR automatically close itself, because it should see that once ours merges, it should take over. So this one should just automatically finish, because it's going to check the PR and realize you're not a dependabot PR. It finishes successfully. It just doesn't do anything, right? If we look at the output from it, it says, yeah, dependabot didn't open this, so I'm skipping this. I'm not going to touch it. Okay, this guy's going to build, test, and hopefully run somewhat quickish. But that will get him going completely with a full pipeline, report generator, PR, rendering. Okay, while that is going, let's set up XAML styler, I think. Okay, so for those people unfamiliar with it, WPF, XAML styler. So this is a wonderful little tool. This guy right here. And again, this is one of those Kevin preference. You can choose to go a different way if you want. But the default formatting for your XAML inside of the WPF stuff ain't great. Let's be clear, not great. XAML styler is like editor config, only for your XAML, which is great. They've got wonderful docs. They support all the major things. Getting started is probably, I think, the right place. So significant white space, no significant white space. You can configure all of this stuff, and you can do it inside of here. But more importantly, you can also configure it. If we look at the material design project, there is a settings.xaml styler. So you can actually store your preferred settings in the repo. And then as long as everyone working on the repo has their own or has the extension installed, you're fine. As you can see, the XAML styler extension supports pretty much any editor you would care about. And then they also have a console option as well. So if you want to go through and do that, great, you're off to the races. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to shamelessly steal this one right out of the material design project. And then I'm going to, let's see, we put this at the root of the repo, which is going to be here. Okay, yeah, I delete the .txt and it puts it right back. Excellent. I was worried it would be easy. Okay, so that is going to get us what I think is probably a pretty close to reasonable XAML styler file. And then let's go ahead and open this guy up. I want to add him into the solution as well. So he shows up here, add existing item. And then this brings this in here. And then I'd like to go through and just make sure that this thing is now formatted according to that, because that's kind of an important detail. I think it's probably pretty close, because I think the default settings that I have match it pretty close. Okay, so what was the edit there? None. It's a pretty small edit. Why do you think you have... Oh, this, I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's in the .NET template. So let's take a look here. This. File contents are unchanged. Excellent. I was worried it would make sense. Okay, so that will get me to there. Close that down. And that will clean up the XAML styler for me. I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it. Okay, but I want to go back into the solution. Discard, 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 discard. I would like to keep those. We're going to add XAML styler in. Actually, you know what we should do? We should unstage this because I think we're going to end up putting this in a little differently. Okay, let's check our build because we're probably close to done. Excellent. It looks like we failed yet again. What did we fail on now? Right PR number. Could not find part of the path. So when this thing ran, build.coverage. Let's see. I think what we want to do is yeah, because this tried to run echo and then this command here, which I think just straight up fails in the event that the part of the directory doesn't exist. So if we go to our test directory and we take our terminal and we change this because we can do relative pathing here, and we do this, cannot find part of it. So if we do mkdir.build.coverage report, then it works. Yeah. So I think that's what we want to end up doing is make directory, because I believe you can just blindly file make directory multiple times. Maybe we should do this as new item. Item type, directory, path, name, value. Where is the, I guess I could turn off air action. I could also just do force. I think that's ultimate. Like, I just want to tell it I don't care. So let's do that instead. We'll add that into the template. So workflows build. And this is going to be down where it writes the PR number. Let's see, we will do that. We are going to do this maneuver here. Like that. Yeah. Okay, so we will come to test. Oh, we did it in the wrong place, didn't we? Yeah, so we're going to delete this. And then we are going to rebuild our template. We're going to reapply our template. And then we are going to come over here and go, let's see. That's what we expect. New secret, don't care. Formatting, don't care that much. This deleted these again. Why is it deleting these? That shouldn't be happening. Discard selection. Why did it do that? Did I botch my template again? Oh, interesting. It's dropping the bang. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, I might have to go back and play around with that because I'm wondering if there's a bug in the get crack and revert line. That'd be interesting. .NET new. Okay, let's check this again. That lines up with what I'm expecting. That doesn't hurt me. That doesn't hurt me. The key change is that one there. Great. Fixing missing path for PR version number. Commit push. Then at the end of this, we're just going to end up nuking the whole thing. So that'll bring in XAML styler. I'm wondering, do we add in anything for auto format of the repo? Do we care? So for example, XAML styler console. If we look at their docs, I believe they've got this guy as a .NET tool. So we could add it as a tool and do something local, but I don't know if that's actually what people want. I may just leave it as the styler settings are added in the repo, and it's up to other people to decide what they want to do with that. Okay, so that handles XAML styler. That handles that. We've got a build kind of cruising in progress. Let me back this guy up so we can keep an eye on him. And then what do we want to attack next on this template? Because this has already got a lot in here. Do we deal with things like EF and HTTP client? That might not be bad. Trying to think, what is the stupidest simple HTTP client implementation I could do? What's more interesting is the tests with HTTP client. How do we do a reasonable test? What's the best way to go about doing that? I'm also wondering about doing something with like dialogues with material design and XAML, because I'm not really showing any of that off. Because I have a list on my on the .NET templates repo. I have like it'd be nice to show some MA apps integration, and it would be nice to have different navigation strategy, and then EF things. So we could show some navigation strategies. And by navigation strategies, this is kind of like, how do you want to lay out your app? Do you want multiple windows? Do you want like a navigation rail structure? Do you want like a tab structure? Do you want a do you want like a flow document thing? I almost wonder, maybe we look at something like that, because that's not a bad idea to go down, and it shows off some of the conditional stuff in it. So let's take a look. If we were to come into here, yeah, reload, whatever. Shut up and go away. I'm gonna move you. You failed already. Oh, boo! What'd you fail on? Right PR number. What? Directory WPF test. Access to the path is denied. Well, that's interesting. The thing we literally just made, we don't have access to? Something seems wrong here. Something seems very, very wrong. Hang on. New item. New item value. Yeah. So let's try something here, because I'm wondering if we, so let's go back into here. Yeah, so I want to do, let's test a theory. So new item, no, new item type file value 3, because we're going to make something up. Let's see, we want force, and we want path is, let's see, build slash coverage slash TR number. And then do you have the value inside of you? Maybe we just do this. Give me access with code. Yeah, so we're gonna do, let's just do that. That's much simpler. Okay, so let's go back to our template and build app. So the whole point is we just want to write out this TR number. Okay, so value is gonna get this guy here. And then the path is going to be this guy here. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Save. Then we come over here. We go make me a new package. Come here and we go reapply. We check it here and go, secrets are fine. We don't want this file. We do want this. And then we fire that off and see what happens. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna just pop this open, pop the action open and set it to the side for the moment. I can keep an eye on it, and let's look at some building out some different options. So reload. Okay, so common pattern that I see for navigation. I guess we could do navigation rail, tabbed, which are kind of similar if you're aware that underlying both is the tab control. And then we could do like a hamburger menu fly out type situation. I think that's pretty good. We're going to quickly get into a case with user controls, and I might have to go steal Nikolai's source generator because it's kind of cool for the DI stuff. But let's start doing that, because the only other thing that's not really in here is any sort of like namespace setting up, because you really don't want to in a real application just kind of jumble everything together in one namespace like this. The problem is we're then going to have to make a really hard determination. So the two common ways of doing it is some people group more by type, where you'll see like a views namespace and a view models namespace, and usually the two kind of mirror each other. The other one, which is kind of my current preference, is you group by feature or location, which works really well. It does beg some questions around where do you put cross-cutting things. Ultimately, it comes down to if you can do a good job of naming, you're fine. You're fine. It's great. But obviously, naming things is one of the two things that's hard in computer science. The other being cache invalidation, and then off by one errors, of course. So let's just build this out real quick and see where we land. Let me grab the material design demo app really quick. So for those people unfamiliar with it, if you go to, let's see here, come back, the material design project. If you go here, you go releases and grab whatever the latest is. You can come down here and you hit demo app. Boom. Get yourself a demo app. Come on, scan it. Convince yourself that there's no viruses. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just gonna, when you get inside of it, I'll warn you, there are a whole bunch of versions. Generally, you probably just want the latest. Probably don't need to be caching so many, but whatever. I figured I'd cache them all. Boom. Okay, and then I'm going to pull out the net7 one, and then you just execute the exe inside of it. And then you convince it that, yes, I understand you're unsigned, run anyway. Okay, so this is kind of one of the logical ways of handling things with this drawer style layout. It's probably not a bad one to go through and build up. The basic premise is you usually have this kind of header bar along the top. You've got this kind of thing that pulls in and out, and then you can kind of build that out. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so in order to get something like this, let's grab the kind of the main window layout from the demo app, and we're going to kind of mirror some of that stuff. Let's see, main window. Yeah, so this is where a lot of the stuff is going to come. So this drawer host is going to be the key one here. It's going to be bound around to, in this case, it's being bound to the toggle button. We'll see if that's actually what we want to do, but this will get us a long way there. Just start with something of that nature, and then our build passed. Sweet. Nice. And then did it trigger a... No, this didn't work. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Okay. Either message or path input is required. We said path, summary GitHub, download artifacts. So it downloaded the artifacts, but it didn't get, it either didn't pull the PR number appropriately or didn't get something. So let's look at the other run and look at its artifacts. This guy should be here. So this guy pulled the code coverage. So that will exist, but what is missing then is the actual summary report. That did not get bundled up. Let's figure out what we did wrong there. Upload code coverage report. Let's see here. So we missed something. I'm willing to bet we just botched a path. Coverage report. Because this says target directory is coverage report, and we actually want the target directory to be here. So this got put in the wrong directory. That's what did it. Once again, rinse, repeat. We come here. Check this. We go here. We go, that's what we want. I don't care about you anymore. And fix code coverage. And we push it because we want to see that coverage task finish. Okay. Back to where we were going. Reload. Yeah. Okay. So if we were to redo this main window, we would want to have the root level probably to be something like, nope, probably be something more like this. And then this means the closing is that. Okay. And then we're gonna, yeah, because we're not gonna have the grid, we're not gonna have the menu. We may end up keeping the stack panel just for demonstration purposes, because that's probably a worthwhile thing to do. But we're going to move it up inside of the drawer host. Okay, so what is your problem here? Material design namespace is not defined. That is a problem. I agree. Bring that in. Okay, so that gets us to there. Why is my XAML styler not formatting? XAML styler. Did I disable it? Manage extensions. I sometimes go through and disable it. Also, the new extensions library. Mwah. Let's go here. It is enabled. Let's see. So XAML styler is there. Let's see. True bind. Format on save true. Interesting. Why are you not formatting? Format XAML. There, that's what I want. Huh. I don't understand why it's not formatting on save. That is weird. It also makes me strongly suspect that I haven't properly formatted something on the main source one either. So, actions. Okay, that just finished. Just want to see this work because this should go fairly quick. Nope. Let's see, PR number over here. Number 2. Resource not accessible by integration. What? Did I forget to configure something about my repo? This is a very likely thing, but usually the easiest thing to do. Come over here and go GitHub, and we're just going to look at this action. Let's see here. You need to add permissions for this tool. Permission pull request write. Why did I not put that on the other one? Yeah, so let's do that. Kind of want to scope it a little lower. Like here. I guess it doesn't really matter. We can go up to the root on this guy because we are going to end up only the one thing. We'll go there. Once again, we will build the template. We will come over here, wait for it to finish, apply it, and then we're going to come in here and go with, and then throw this away and say something along the lines of setting permissions, and this, we will see what this does, because I have a strange suspicion, if I remember right, that there is going to be a approval or similar that needs to go in. There is a setting you can toggle that will go through and do this. I'm trying to remember where it is. Require approval. Oh, I think this is likely what I have turned on the other repository, which is probably why the other one doesn't have it. But let's just confirm that real quick. I suspect that that's what I've done. Actions, general. Read and write permissions. So that's why the pointer star one doesn't have that problem. I'm curious what the permissions write is going to do. You need to add the permission for this tool. Pull request write. Yeah, keep more than one comment, append. Yeah, and again, this is a template, so you can change up and leverage these however you'd like. Let's see. This tool specifically requires so you do have to enable this in your workflow permissions. So we are going to take this. So this is probably going to fail again. This is required by let's see. See this. Let's see. We're gonna put this down here. Nope. I want to grab that link. You must enable permissions. Allow workflows to write. Let's see, and then we would like to do this with the GitHub CLI. So GitHub repo edit. Let's just see if we can find our way right into this, because I'd like to do this without needing to. I'd like to do it entirely from the CLI. Settings, actions, general, workflow permissions. Settings. Let's see. Let's just start here. Is there an actions one that makes obvious sense? I feel like it's going to be repos. Because this is run, workflow, cache. I don't want to drop to raw API requests if we can help it. Help topics, that's not really what I'm interested in, so let's definitely go repo. Let's see. Archive, clone, delete, edit, fork, rename, set defaults. Figure the create list. Guessing we're gonna end up in edit. Enable, let's see, add topics, allow forking. Branch on merge. I think I have that set already. Enable auto merge. Homepage, remove topics. That's really disappointing that there's not so we might have to actually go and do this. I'm curious what this is actually going to do now with the action. Yeah, so it's going to keep failing until I come over here and do actions, general, read write permissions. Save that, and then we'll come over here and we're going to just manually run this guy on workflow. And then we will see what happens here. So this guy will kick off and we should be fine. Okay. That is really disappointing. That is really, really disappointing. Anyway, back to here. Reload. Oh, did I just throw that away? So bad. Save it. That was kind of dumb on my part. Okay, so be on my clipboard still. There, thank you. Okay, and then we're gonna do that. We're gonna grab the stack panel, grab that, get rid of the grid. That goes away. We come up here, inside of here, we do this. come up here and we go add namespace, include, great. Okay, so that gets us to there. That gets us to there. We do have this weird thing where it doesn't want to format for me, but whatever. Okay, even though I have format on save enabled. Okay, we're going to want to clean a lot of this up. But this will get us pretty close to what we want. And then I'd like to get a, because this will get me the drawer host, but we want to get the nice little color bar along the top. So let's come here. Did I close it? I need to quit closing stuff. Really bad about that. Demo app. Main window. So we want the color zone that is in here. Yeah, so this thing has a dock panel with a bunch of stuff in it. Yeah, this is a lot. Yeah, fine, whatever. So we're gonna want to clean up a bunch of this. So that's the left drawer. This is the main content. We are going to paste this here. That's the color zone. We want to come here and we want to close the dock panel. And then we want to format. Okay, so that gets a lot. For those people who can't see the designer, that gets us something that looks thereabouts there. Now, I don't think we want the forward, back, or any of that stuff. That is fluff that is not needed, adds complexity, and makes my life harder. So all of these are going away. There's that. Trying to decide if I even want the pop-up box. I don't even think I want that. Cause we're going super simple here. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of all that. And then do we seriously have a hard-coded margin of like 152 just to center something? That's a bad way of centering things. You should never center with margin like that. We're gonna call this WPF app. And then we're gonna get rid of the automation properties. Font is fine, but I think what we actually want to do is something more like a style, static resource, title text, I think is what we want. Let's do headline 1. So if we look at the demo app, we can go to typography. We can take a look at the different ones here. Surprised. So this font size is mucking with me a little bit, so we're going to turn that off. And then I think we're probably looking. Let's do headline 4. If we do material design, headline 3, 4, something like that. That's a little big. Let's go 5. Yeah, that looks better. We'll do something about like that. And I think that gets something, because I think this is kind of what people are looking for, to get this kind of interaction. Let's turn those off. That's default, so we'll turn that off. We're gonna clean up a lot of stuff in here. What other errors do we have? We're gonna need to deal with the bindings and the setup for all the items in this. Okay, so we've got Got a sidebar. There's a search thing in here. I don't know if we actually care for the search. I think we want to get rid of the search, and I think we want to have just a straight list in here. So let's get rid of that entirely. Because we want to have something that's useful but not overwhelming to people. This gets us... And we still have this. And I think what we'll do is we'll put in, you know, count and about maybe, and do something like that, just so we can show navigation. Maybe home and about. You know, if we do that, we don't even need to do data binding, do we? See, this is where it gets interesting, because now I'm curious how important are various things to people? We might not set this min width. It's so big, we might set this down to like 100. What's that look like? It's a little small. Let's go 150. It's probably okay. And then I'm realizing we should probably keep our minimum size of our app. In general, you want to set a min width and min height on your windows, because there's almost assuredly a size at which your window is completely unusable. So that's not bad. Like, we could probably even let the width go smaller, because we don't want to be unreasonably restrictive to the users, but we also, there's a point where it just doesn't make any sense. That's probably okay. That's not bad. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll set a min width, min height on each of those. I want to check the... Oh, so that passed, but it didn't... It wasn't a PR comment or commit. So we're gonna go here. Stage this line. So what does that look like then? Stage this line. That means it literally looks like that. Cool. Just kicking the PR. Okay, so I'll fire that off just so we can see the, again, I want to see the PR comment actually work. I'm wondering if the title of the window should also be WPF app, so that it ends up getting replaced. Because at the end of the day, we're going to copy this back into our base template and change this. So I think if we do this would end up becoming test, which I think is probably better. This is kind of worthless. So then the question is, what do we want to do on the view model then? How do we want to handle the navigation? What is a good way to show off? Because we'd like to have effectively two pages. Our home page and our about page, for example. I think we do home and about. And we can kind of cheat, and like we can scratch this whole thing in here and just throw all this away. And then we don't even need this, right? All of this goes away. None of this is needed. And we can come in here and we can throw away this whole thing, and we can do list box item, and we can do something like stack panel orientation horizontal. We can do something like a material design pack icon, and we can do kind, and we can do home. All right, we can do something like that, and then we can come in here and we can go with text block, text. like that, and we can get a mildly decent looking item here fairly quickly. If we go here and take a look, the thing is people want to see clicking on this doing something, right? And what does that end up looking like? I'm also surprised I'm not getting... Oh, I don't have it set up to do the color change. I should probably set that up. Color adjustment. Color adjustment. So what that has just done is it has tweaked the colors in my theme, so they aren't exactly purple. They're a little off. So the question is, do you want to have something maintaining the appropriate contrast ratio for you or not? We've also, by getting rid of the menu, we've killed off our reset option. Let's do something like button content reset. Let's see, dock panel, dock bottom, command X, that, because what did we have in here before? We had a binding that looked like that. So let's just grab that binding and do that there, because now we should have a way to reset our thing. And then I think what we want to do is let's show off one kind of controlling some of this other stuff. So if we do observable property, private bool is doc shown, right? And then on clear count is doc shown gets false. All right, so we're going to do that, and then we'll come over to our toggle button. Is checked, binding is doc shown, and now that should just magically work. So we come in here, click, 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 open, reset. There we go. Click, 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 open, reset. We're after the races. Should we show an observable collection? We probably should. Probably should. I'm just trying to decide if doing the navigation inside of main window view model is the right place to do this, or if we want to actually separate this out a little bit. I like the is doc shown because we can get away with doing the navigation like this and just literally slapping in a couple list box items, right? So something like this works. We can come over here and go about, and then we've got both of those in there. I mean, it's quick, it's easy. It's probably not what people want to see though, and we want to trigger some navigation when this occurs. And I'm almost wondering if the reset button should live over here or not. I can't decide, because the reset's going to look a little weird on the about screen once we swap out, because the idea will be that we want the content here swapping out, which I think is going to result in something slightly different, because we're going to end up doing something like user control here. What do we call this? Count page. Count view. Let's do count view. And then we'll end up creating like a count view model to go with it. So we're gonna File scope the namespace, drop the base class off just so that when we clear the namespaces, it drops it down. Away we go. Boom. And then I think we want to set something like that up. And I'm kind of thinking that this will be the style we go for. Let's see. Takes to build. Yeah. You're just so picky. Gotta look at the resulting file. Edit and working directory. Let's screw it. We can probably just bring in the whole header. Stage. Just do this whole thing. Stage selection. Yeah. Kind of stupid because we don't really need to do any of this because I am just trying to kick a PR. I don't care. Should have just done like a white space change and made my life easy, but I'm too stupid to do that. Okay, so yeah, so let's kind of carry down this way while we wait for that to go. So we'll do something like public class count view model, and there is a really good question to be raised here about namespaces and how to organize this. And I haven't really decided how I want the sample to do that. But we will go with observable object. What, isn't it observable object or observable? Yeah, observable object. That's what I want. Let's do what I say. And then I want you to be partial, which is critical here. And then this guy here is actually going to take pretty much all of this. Put it in here. We don't care about the constructor for the moment. We'll do this. And then the count view is going to more or less take this whole thing. We're gonna put that here. Think. Let's see. Format XAML. Then we want to set the design time data context so we get good usage. Let's see. Design instance type count view model. Let's see. Let's do that. What was the namespace we did over here for it? We did local. Okay, fine. We can stick with local for the moment. Local. And that's only working because these things are at the root. Once we nest these things in any other namespace, we're gonna have to add like another XML namespace for any of this to fly. Okay, so this gets us here, this gets us here. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and do add user control. We'll do something like about view. All right, we'll clean this guy up as well. File scope the namespace. Clean that up. Great. And then I think for the moment we're just going to go with text block text to do. All right, this is going to need something. Sorry, email notification just popped. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Right? That's what we were going for. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, so that is now all working. Huzzah. Okay, so now that that is working, let's go back to our template. Let's see, we're gonna go here. create branch here, and we're going to do something like adding GitHub Actions. Come in here and let's check everything. So we want this stuff. That makes sense. We want the code coverage report, which makes sense. Let's see, hold on. We did add the we want to kind of clean up the text on that message to allow workflows. I was gonna just cite this page because their description is pretty. Let's grab that little bit for the moment. You must enable read-write permissions to allow workflow to create comments on the PR. Repo, navigate to. Okay, so we're going to do that, I think, because I think that's a little easier to track. Stage that. We don't want any of that. We do want that. We do want the XAML styler. And we want all of this. Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's adding it. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, we're going to put that back in place. Okay. Adding deployment to the template. And then if people are interested in seeing, I'd be curious what people are interested in seeing for how to deploy the WPF app. And this is where it gets hard to know what to put in a template, because there's a lot of different ways of doing it. Something like Cloud Squirrel would or Skirday would be probably my preference, but I could see somebody wanting like MSIX or similar, and that kind of gets us down a different rabbit hole of how do we modernize our WPF with the latest Windows SDKs, which that might be interesting to add as well. There's so much you can easily tack into here, but I think having something like this set up is going to get us a long way. Okay, I am probably going to end up playing with this layout. I think I want to spend a little time thinking about the proper way to do navigation. This does get to be a little bit interesting, and I brought it up in my dependency injection video, is when you have something like this view object, you're limited to a default constructor, because in order to launch this, the creation of the view isn't something that you can realistically feed into your DI container, especially if you've got something over here. Because ideally what we'd like to do is we'd like to get rid of this completely and go with something like local count view, right? Which works, and we still get the same view, but the problem is in order for this line to exist, we have to basically be able to have a default constructor to be able to be done, which makes doing the DI a little bit obnoxious, because in an ideal situation, we would much rather have something more akin to how we did the main window, where you have a view model being passed in. And there's a couple kind of tricky workarounds for this. Nikolai actually has a pretty cool source generator that he was looking at doing at one point, so I may poke at that and see about bringing it into the template, because I do like having navigation. I am wondering if this template is going to need to add in extra bits, because the other thing is dialog host is generally inside your view models. You're going to want something that shows a dialog, which means putting a dialog host over the top of this. So I might look at adding that in. What I think I'm going to do is probably have like a switch on the template that's something like simple view. That way people who don't want all this can kind of turn it off, and I'll basically have two main window.xamls and just feature flag a bunch of files in or out depending on where that's set. That way we can have the default mode of the template will be all the things. And just like how the other ones have extra stuff, there'll be a switch to turn it off. I think that's probably the route to go down. I think I'm going to play with this a little bit more. Let me make sure that other thing is merging. So we're going to enable auto merge and squash. And then I think in the interest of getting this out, at the root of this template, in order to kick a release, we just do this, and then we go create new branch, release 141. Oh, 141, switch branch, and then we will commit it, bumping version to 141, commit and push, then we flip back, and then we compare and pull request. And we compare and pull request. And then now that the other one's in, we will just enable auto merge on this. And then when he merges, new NuGet package will go out with all of these changes for the WPF template on version 141. So hopefully, if anybody wants to use this, it should be as simple as following the directions in the README, .NET new install. You can do the -- force or the update command rather than install if you've already got it installed and you just want the latest version, and you'll be off to the races. I think I am going to play around with the view and figure out every time I've done navigation, it's been so hyper specific to one application. I don't know the right answer. So sometimes coming up with the most succinct examples is one of the hardest tasks to do. So I think with that, I am probably going to go and get some rest. My family has not been feeling well, and consequently I have been not sleeping well because I've had to be up more and do more, but thus is life. So with that, thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. Hopefully that was halfway interesting. If you're using my templates and like them, let me know. If there's things you'd like to see, feel free to drop open issues. Always happy to look at adding more, because I feel like the more I've used these, the more I want more and more templates, so that I don't have to relearn stuff once I've got it. So with that, happy coding. See everyone next time.